Let's see what sort of damage it does. It's a lot of damage. It is a lot of damage. Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I'm on the test server. Thank you, Raid, for letting us try some of this stuff out before it gets in the game, or before you guys need to waste any resources going after stuff. So today we're going to do a guide on the bug. Vildrax, the new epic fragment collector champion that we're currently involved in. And I know a lot of people are just going to do this because it's also just playing the game. Yeah. But what I wanted to show you in this champion guide is where I think the bug's going to be most useful. And I think there is actually some pretty genuine use for this Demon Spawn epic. So let's go through his kit first. He is thirsty for knowledge. His A1 alone takes 8 books. I do have him fully booked on the test server here. I would say for anyone who's pulling him, wants to use him, make use of his kits, the A2 is kind of where it's at in terms of where he brings utility, something very different in this game, and that is a 100% chance to place HEX. You know what? I was looking at this before I started this video. I'm going to show you the spreadsheet from the website in terms of the best damage dealers in the game. So if you're interested in getting this for yourself, anyone to come, hellhades.com, into the champion tier list. And then you can click on this bit at the top here. It tells you how we kind of get to the damage for champions. There's a bit here. It's a little bit hidden, even though it's in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight, champion damage spreadsheet. Click this. You can download a copy yourself. And then you can manipulate it like I'm about to here. So what I've got here is all of the champions listed from best damage dealer in the game to lowest. And based on what type of skill they're doing. So I'm going to click on AoE champions, because that's really where we want to see the big hitters. And look at the top. Number 1, not Trunda. Number 1 is actually Ruel the Huntman. Number 2, got a theme coming here, is Thea the Tomb Angel. So Thea we can all get from Doom Tower Hard. It's the first legendary champion you get after doing the rotations. And Ruel was a fragment collector himself not that long ago. So there's a good chance a lot of people have got these two champions, and there's a good chance they're sitting in the vault, even though they have got the best damage potential from any champion in the game. And it's all based on HEX. So this new epic, the bug, is, I'd say, the first support-based champion that can stay alive and deliver 100% HEX for those two nukers. Cleopteryx is also a collectible champion, albeit it's further on in the game. Once you get past the 270 days, she becomes the kind of, well, replacement for shards and chickens is what she becomes. But she is going to be someone that everyone eventually will get. Vildrax also sets up her nuke as well. So the 100% HEX on the A2 is actually pretty massive. Now, the one thing I will call out here is all of this so far, every single ability, including all of the smackers, the HEX smackers, they've all got a downside, and it's affinity. To place this HEX, it is a hit. It's not just places HEX, it's attacks and then got a chance to place, which means that you can weak hit and not place HEX. Thea and Ruel have both got the same thing, and they're all different affinities. So we've got a spirit affinity Ruel, and his smack is based on HEX already being out there. And Thea might be in my vault, to be honest, but Thea is force affinity. Oh, here she is. And she needs HEX out there as well. So all of them different affinities right now. We don't have any consistency around HEX, which means that people still don't use the HEX champions for things like Arena Nuka consistently. Even though, honestly, that they're the next best thing to blow someone up. So even when we're talking about wave content, if we're talking about high-level Doom Tower, if we're talking about high-level Ice Golem, Dragon, whatever, all of those waves of enemies, if you're not using Seer to blow them up, the next best thing to do it quickly is HEX Smack. That's the truth. So Vildrax could be massive if you got one of these big hitters sitting in the vault getting no work done. The shame really is that so far there's no Hex champions coming on the same factions. So Vildrax is not going to support anybody in Faction Wars by laying Hex. So literally makes him pretty useless for Faction Wars, honestly. So that's a bit of a shame. I guess down the line, we're getting more and more Hex champions. Eventually, they'll start to double up in factions as well, I guess. It's also worth saying, like, there's a lot on this topic, but it's important. Hex could be massive for Hydra if you get one of those heads that focuses on Hex. So Vildrax, in terms of an epic, extremely unique that 100% Hex is there. And the rest of his kit, as we'll get to, is not terrible either. It's not great. Leech is okay. AoE on the A3, it's a hit again. Attacks all enemies, 80% chance, books to 100 of increasing the duration of enemy debuffs. So you put your debuffs out there, including Hex, and it pings them up for an extra turn. That's quite nice. If you're running something like a Poison Exploder, this ability is actually good, because it can push up the number of ticks for a poison for another turn. These two abilities together are okay for Clan Boss as well. Leech alongside debuff extension. Hex, I don't think, has really got a place in Clan Boss just yet, but it's not too bad. When hitting enemies under Hex with this one, 60% goes up to 80 when booked. Chance of putting a skill on cooldown, one of the skills. That's actually pretty good as well. So A2 and A3 I like, but it's worth saying this dude does not hit at all. One of the weakest hitting champions in the whole game. This is not a damage dealing champion, but the kit is kind of strong. And then the passive with no cooldown, if booked, 30% chance of stealing a heal each time an enemy under Hex is about to be healed. That's actually kind of cool as well. 30%, so it's not massive, but it is like an RNG play. And you can build this guy to be a tank. So massive base stats in HP and defense, good base speed. So you could see him popping up in some arena-style teams, I guess, for this passive. And it doesn't work against bosses, so it's only really going to be viable in wave-based content, all that type of stuff. But it's also worth saying here, so the amount healed would be the same as if it had been on the original target of the heal, except it's based on Vildrax's HP, not the enemy's HP. That generally is a good thing, because Vildrax has got a very good base HP. You could build him with easy, if you wanted, 70, 80k health, which means he would get massive heals. So all in all, his kit is very unique and really interesting. He just hits like an absolute wet lettuce. Like, I don't know what he's going to do. He's literally coming in. He's like, I'm coming at you with my pincers, but he's not doing anything. He's like he literally is like a bug. He's like that. The spider is tickling me. It's not doing anything. You're too small. So this dude is not doing anything for any, like, in terms of damage. Aura, accuracy in all battles, I like it. Especially for someone who's trying to progress through the game. That's a massive, especially for someone like Doom Tower as well, where you need a lot of accuracy. It's not a bad aura. So Vildrax, all in all, I like his kit. I think he is worth getting for most players, honestly. The only downside right now is that the amount of points and that you need is kind of similar to legendary level. The only real difference between this epic fusion or fragment and a legendary one is that there's only one summoning event instead of two. But I'd still say I'm going to try and get him on my free-to-play, and you'll see in a minute that he can do some good setup work. So masteries that I would recommend, I'm actually going to recommend running him in stun set or some sort of control set, because he doesn't hit. So if he doesn't hit, you may as well get some more value out of 2 AoE skills. Yeah, and they're both on. We've got like 3-turn cooldown, 4-turn cooldown. So more often than not, you're doing AoE abilities. So stun set I like. Taunt set would not be too bad either. But stun I think is probably best because it absolutely wipes out an enemy team. So I've gone for therefore fearsome presence to give me a better chance to stun. And we've just gone straight up defensive support tree. I'm not even worried about the offensive tree. I know that he's one of the weakest champions in the game for damage. Let me start by showing you some general content where I think he's going to be strong. And really, it's places like... It's anywhere where you want to try and activate your damage dealers. Anywhere where you want to try and get Hex away. And we're going to use Ruel as my damage dealer for this. In fact, I'll show you the build quickly so you can see what you're trying to match up against. My Ruel, Spirit Champion. I've got him in Savage and Cruel, so he's going to be smacking. very high attack. I've just gone full out damage build with high crit damage. So he's gone for Newt. He's pretty slow. And that's all I'm using him for in this. Is just to kind of give you an example of sort of level of damage that you can get with Hex out there if you've got a champion that can back it up. So I'm just going to set up a team here to run this. We do need to make sure the skills go on in the right order. So we're just going to have Tomb Lord doing his decreased defense to start with. Ruel doing his smack to start with. He's going to try and place Hex, even though we've already done it out there. So we want him to do his big hits. Hex coming out first for the bug. And Kaimar actually starting with his A1 and then doing his normal abilities. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to Hex, Smash, Reset, Hex, Smash, Reset, and then we're going to kill the boss. So decreased defense is out there. Hex. See, we've got a couple of stuns off as well. Smack, Dead Wave, onto the next wave. This is stage 20, by the way. Dead Wave 2. And then on the boss, obviously, we get back to our main abilities. Tomb Lord starts doing his thing. And it gives you another option to get through stuff. Hex out there again very quickly. He actually gets round to his abilities really fast, which is cool. He can't steal any healing or anything here, so we're not going to see any examples of that. But this is now all about Tomb Lord at this stage. I mean, Ruel still does crazy work. Bam! Septimus gets in the mix. He's like, I want to play. And this is a pretty dead Ice Golem very quickly on 20. Oh, we're taking some knocks, so we should just about get there. And obviously that stun set, you see where the value of the stun set comes in. These adds, either way, we're getting stunned off. If you're running them in Faction Wars, just being able to bring the stun set, being able to bring 2 AoE hits is nice. Pushing debuffs up is nice. And then that kind of chance to steal a heal is okay. We've not really seen that heal kind of reduction thing in play at all yet. So, or the heal steal at all yet. So maybe we'll pull ourselves up to a reasonable level of Doom Tower. Let's push a little bit higher. See if I can find a wave with some healers in it, and see what we do. I guess this is all good for testing. I'm going to go up first against Hard 55. For those who don't know this, we've got something called the Raid Stages tool on the website. So you can come into Raid Stages tool, and I can just select any content from Raid. So dungeons, clan boss, whatever. Doom Tower here I'm selecting, rotation 2, and then I'm selecting the floor levels, and it's telling me the mobs that I'm up against. So I see in here we've got a Sky Touched on the first wave. She's got a passive heal. So I'm wondering if this potentially comes in against a passive ability. Okay, so I'm going to go up against floor 55. The reason being is I know there's a Sky Touched in this floor. For those who don't know, you can come onto the website Raid Shadow Legends, into Raid Stages tool, one of the tools, and you can actually select any content in the game with these drop downs. So I'm on Doom Tower rotation 2, Doom Tower floor hard 55, and it tells me all of the enemies I'm going to face and what their stats are. So it's actually really good if you want to know how much accuracy, which is the orange bracket in number, orange number in brackets that you need to beat the resistance of those enemies. It's really good against bosses as well. But for this, I've just noticed that they've got a Sky Touched who has got a passive heal. So we're going to see if we steal any healing from that passive. There's a number of different types of heals in the game, so I'm really interested to know what it actually works on. Let's just cycle through some abilities quick. I'm just going to A1 for now on the other guys. I do need to put Hex out. So we can just drop some defense out there. Take a smack back, that's fine. Loving the one-time speed here. So we're going to throw our Hex out. Needs to land on Sky Touched, I guess. And it does. And I'm going to keep it on one-time speed, so I just want to see the animation here of what happens. And then I guess we're just going to provoke so that we've got some control going on. Right. Sky Touch, so you having a turn. Will we see a heal pop up? 18,000 heal. You see that? 18,000 heal here. So we stole the heal and we ate it up. that's, I mean, it's RNG. It's kind of random, I guess, how often that's going to happen. There's enough champions that we come up against, though, with a healing mechanic for that to be pretty useful. Hex right now is totally irrelevant within this team in terms of us doing more damage, because there's no champion on my team that has got an ability right now that does more damage to Hex. So all of the rest of that kit right now is pointless, which it will be on my free-to-play account until I get a Hex Smasher. But the rest of the kit is just kind of interesting enough, I think, for it to be useful. But good to see. So passive heals, obviously any main big heals are going to be useful to deal with. And as I said before, like if you're running a stun set, then 2 AoE abilities will give you a decent amount of control anyway. I would have had a heal there, but he got heal reduction on him. And yeah, this team of kind of control surrounded by interesting epic setup, I think could probably be a reasonable style of team to take stuff on. But I don't know, guys. It's definitely an interesting champion with some pretty unique stuff going on in the kits. And that's what I really like about him. But I think it's definitely a champion where it's totally dependent on the type of content that you're taking on at that moment in time, in terms of like real use case examples. Let's throw him into a Doom Tower wave with someone who's actually going to hit behind him. So we're going to do this again. I've set their AI so that they're not doing silly stuff. We've got the drop defense and weaken coming in to set up the nuke, and we've also got seal in there for a bit of control if we need it. So let's just see how this flows. We're on like high level Doom Tower here. This is nasty, very nasty. We get some control out, we get some nukage out, and this is what I mean. The only other champion in the game that can do that, maybe it was a handful. Series 1, the poison exploders are others, and AoE Hex damage is the other. That's it. That's the only ways you'll get into that level of damage. So, and this for me is a genuine setup for a Ruel or a Thea, and there's very few others. So the trouble you've got, same with Seer really, and maybe we could just you'd be able to throw in like a double timer and forget the seal, is the third wave. You have to be able to deal with the third wave. So if I was doing this properly, I would actually bring Seal's speed down, and she would do a AoE stun on that third wave. Or you'd bring in a second reset champion, and you'd do the full rotation again to get the third wave dead. We still get through this anyway. Seal will pick him back up. Will she? Seal, what about your fallen friend? There he is. Kymar, give them their abilities back. Hex is out there again. And, you know, for a team, honestly, I've just thrown a team together and it's just about going to make it through. I've thrown a team together of good champions. Let's not be silly about this, but we're going to get through a very high level of Doom Tower floor with, you know, this group of champions when I've not even speed tuned anyone or anything like that. So it does show level 74 there how powerful the Hex combo is. Vildrax enables that. Vildrax sets that up. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I think a lot of people will get a ton of utility out of him over time. If you were going for something like Arena, then I think you've got a good potential. Let's see how many pluses are already coming in here. Okay, let's go through that. This is EU Rats. It's an absolute tank team. We might be having issues with affinity and stuff. Let's see what we do. So we're going to go Kymar. Kymar, Sifi. I don't have an increased attack for my nuke. I think we go Kymar, Sifi, the Bug, and then Ruel. Ruel has got neutral, positive, neutral, negative. He does do a double hit though, so it's pretty effective against the Rotus. If you've got enough damage, as long as you don't get a bunch of weak hits, which is possible. But as I say, the problem you've got is the bulk hits. So if you're using something like a Kymar, Kaimar sleeps, you need your bug to be pretty slow so that these guys get a turn before the bug wakes them up. There's a couple of kind of things you just got to be aware of, but Kaimar throws the sleep out. Got resisted by Duchess here, which means now everyone's got block debuffs on. Is that just bad luck? Was it just bad luck, or has Rat's got a crazy Duchess? Probably he has. It's actually quite low team power, so it doesn't look like that's a resistance build to me. But it could be. Go again. Yeah, okay, so I think I just got unlucky. This is what I was talking about here. So my bug's pretty slow, like 200 speed. I'm actually going to wake all of these up before the damage goes away. Do we still get our turn? Just sleep her, and then we probably will. We've got stuns away on 2 of them anyway with our stun set. Pretty nice. Hex everywhere. And then Unleash the Beast. Can he get the job done? Double hit. Rotus sits down, but Vodov's in between healed the others up. We do get a reset because we've got a Kaimar. And we go through it again. And obviously Vodov has done the work here to keep them in the game. But we're going to try again. Ruel, can you get the job done? Not enough against a tanky Duchess. I'm not sure that there's much that is enough against a tanky Duchess, honestly. But it does show that it's challenging to do. Clean off all of that stuff. Just hit auto from here. But yeah, so it's going to be a good setup. It's very difficult to show you the average account type of stuff here because everyone who's doing test server right now is like they're crazy accounts basically. Everyone's got crazy stuff that's in the test server. Let's see if I can find anyone a bit less insane. Anet J, let's try this one. Same sort of team. Like obviously EU Rats, he pushes plat, so he's and I haven't put Ruel in my plat level gear. Oh, it's feeling bad. It's feeling bad. Time I get a go. Bug turn. Everyone's having a rest. Take a minute. Let me just show off this hit. Okay. So no decreased defense. Don't forget, no decreased defense. No weaken with this hit. Let's see what sort of damage it does. It's a lot of damage. It is a lot of damage when you get that hex away. Considering there is no decreased defense or weaken out, that is a hell of a lot of damage that we're putting them through right there. Okay, let's try another one then. Mr. Bean here. Everyone's quicker than me. This is actually ridiculous. Have I got Kaimar as my lead? So we sleep. One got resisted. We're going to wake some of them up. This is our problem. But we do have stun set to try and get some control done, which we did. Let's just let her have a little rest. And then Nuke comes in. I've only got 2 hexes out there. So they've lost their hex. But I mean, when the hex is out there, it does so much work. So much work. I guess, yeah, I got a weak hit, so I didn't get a hex over here. Don't want him hitting me. And then, I mean, we got our ability back. We don't need it. So you can see the amount of damage that it does. And it is a great kind of combo, great setup. But will it get any playtime? That's the question. Will it get playtime? I don't know. I don't know that it does. Now, against your kind of standard type of comps, having to have Hex out there, which is, you know, cleansable and it's removable and all that type of stuff, it does just mean that it's a little bit more finicky than other setups that we've got in the game. But it is a massive hit. A massive hit. Who else can I try? Let's see if we get someone else without a Hedgie. Tyronku. Let's try this one. And obviously if I had increased attack out, we'd be doing more work as well. Let them have a nap. Gonna wake up a couple. Don't want her to do anything. I've got a couple of stuns off. That's why that stun set's so effective here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the hexes are up. Let's see what we do. We've got 2 possible weak hits, though. Again, affinity problems. Oh, it's big. It's big. It is a nuke. It's actually fun to play around with. So yeah, again, like in terms of arena, I think it's good. It's a good alternative tactic. The setup and the affinity thing make me think that not that many people will use it. But if you're like an average player that's just got Thea from Doom Tower and you don't have any of the real big hitters, you know, Thea or Ruel become the biggest hitters in your arsenal. So that then becomes a viable option for you to use them in the arena, depending on what level you're playing at. You know, in Gold 4, that will absolutely slay your enemies. So it's not a bad option. So I think that's going to be it for the guide. I don't think he specifically goes anywhere in the game and on his own is exceptional. If you're bringing a Hex nuker, he becomes exceptional because of the nuker. And I think everywhere he's kind of like a 3.5, 4-star champion out of 5, providing he's setting up someone else to do stuff. That's where I see he's going to be played. I don't really see him as a clan boss champion on his own. There's an interesting bit around his heal, which I like. It's kind of funky, but RNG based and totally based on whether you got him booked or not, because 10% is not enough. But yeah, all in all, I'd say he's worth picking up because we know we're getting Thea, or some of you have already got Ruel, and they're probably not doing anything right now. All of a sudden, they can do something with this champion alongside. And I definitely feel like for the Hydra boss coming up, we know that Hex is a mechanic they want to get further and further into the game. So I would pick him up for that. The first Hex champion in the game that can survive hits. There you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. Hope you enjoyed the guide. I will see you later.